So as the title says, this is my take on some tips for starting players. Let's check it out. You'll notice whenever you complete a stage you'll get a number of stars at the end. This is how it works. By the end of the battle, if you have at least a hero dead, you will get 2 stars. If you have 2 or more dead, you will get 1 star. So, only when completing a stage with your full team alive will grant you 3 stars. But why is that important? As you progress through the campaign, you will only need 1 star to access the next stage. But one important aspect of the game is farming nodes you have already finished using the auto win function. This way you don't need to go manually every time you need equipment parts or other loot. And for this, you'll need to complete the stage with 3 stars. Also, the number of stars you complete a stage it's a sign if your team is strong enough to take on the next one. So your aim is to finish every stage with 3 stars. Yes, you can still push further if you doesn't, but at the very least, go back there once you feel comfortable to do so. First and foremost, you must know that these 2 for light and dark campaign are not recommended to invest too much. They seem to be easier to get shards and upgrades early on, but they are not very good heroes. Not in terms of mid-game or late game. Sure, they can help you early game, but as soon as you get better heroes, you can drop them. Another thing to take into account is that you will preferably want to build a team that has synergy. And the easiest way to achieve this as a new player is to try to assemble a team from the same faction, as they were designed from the ground up with that goal in mind. There's a few good teams for starters, but they come in different difficulties to acquire. I will address this topic in more detail in an upcoming video. But to keep things simple for this guide, I'll say these options are your best choice as a new player. Barbarians. This is the most easily obtainable and the strongest in the list. They will take you a long way through mid-game and early late game. They are also completely free to play friendly. Wild Elves. They are great for early game. Just have in mind they are a bit harder to get. Still, they are a good team to have, especially for beginners. High Elves. They'll also help you through a lot of game modes in the beginning. And comparing to Wild Elves, I think they are a bit easier to get. Honestly, I think these are your best options. Other teams with the same accessibility in early game are not that great. But there's some factions you can still work on and do not regret, as they are useful for other stuff like challenges and events. Dwarves or undeads, for instance, are not particularly good as a main team, but they're useful later on. Balara is a hero you'll get for free, and she's not only a key hero in Barbarian's team, but also will help you do a trick to progress in the game. But don't worry, it's not an exploit. This is just how the hero works. What you'll want to do, as soon as it unlocks for you, is to add as many friends as you can. Ask nicely in the chat for veteran players who can add you, so you can add their strongest hero in your team once a day in the campaign. With that in mind, the so-called trick is to have only this friend's hero in your Balara. This is how it works. Balara can't be a target of direct attacks if there's at least one other hero in your team. In this case, the only other hero the enemies can attack is your friend's hero. This way you can easily get through campaign when enemies are stronger than your team. Sure, will be times you will face enemies with area attacks that can kill your Balara, so you won't finish it with 3 stars, but you can at least unlock that stage and advance. The game has multiple heroes you can only unlock through events. And these events require different teams to complete. You can easily get overwhelmed with so many options. But here's the most common sense: choose one of them to work on and focus on it. Once you unlock your first event hero, start working on the next one. Have in mind that these events runs in a cycle, so each of them come back in a specified frequency. That said, if you don't manage to unlock it the first time, continue to work on them and let them ready for when the event comes back. The easiest and recommended heroes for new players to unlock are these. Brock, which will require 5 kobolds at level 50, equipment 5 and 5 gold stars. Succubus, which will require 5 demons also at level 50, equipment 5 and 5 gold stars. These are the most common event heroes to get first. After getting both of them, you can start working on either Cage or Tsuna. These two will require, respectively, dwarves and undeads. But different from the ones mentioned before, you can unlock these with only 3 stars. Although they can only be further upgraded in rarity, doing the same event. So, if you want to get 7 stars for Cage, you'll have to upgrade your dwarves to 7 stars. And the same applies to Tsuna and the undeads. Rock and Succubus on the other hand, you'll unlock with 5 stars, but you can upgrade them buying extra shards from the shops. There's also other type of events, but I will make another video to take on the topic with more details. Early on you'll notice some resources seems to be a bit scarce. Things like memory spheres and experience potions will be in short availability. But throughout the game you'll have plenty of these, to the point you will accumulate thousands of it, so don't worry too much. On the other hand, silver, for instance, you'll really run low as you go up in levels. It may seem you have enough at the beginning. But once you start upgrading to 6 and 7 stars and leveling your heroes past level 60, you'll regret spending silver on less important stuff. So I suggest you to be selective about which heroes you'll upgrade in terms of level. Do not start leveling them all, just because you can. Choose wisely. Now you may be wondering how can you make your heroes stronger. So let's talk about what is really important and which kind of upgrade should be your priority. The best you can do to improve your power is to gear them first. Equipment is the most important thing you can upgrade in your heroes, and it should be the top priority. Second is the rarity or gold stars. And last but not least, the hero level. I'm not saying you should leave your heroes at level 1, but 50 is a comfortable level to stop, because after that you won't notice much of a difference unless you have higher equipment. Personally, I recommend only going to level 60 when you get their equipment to level 8. When you get to equipment 9 or 10, you can go to level 70 and beyond. Just be careful not to go past level 79. I'll explain why in another video. But for now, simply don't do it. And that's it for now. I hope this guide can be helpful to you. Don't forget to leave a like and hit the subscribe button. You will help a lot. See you next time.